Want to know why this volcano is spitting out perfect rings? Keep watching. Think you could spend a year living on Mars? Or at least pretend to? And is Bronny James, LeBron James' son, going to the NBA? We'll tell you all the answers and more, because this is First Stop News. Hey everybody, it's a new day and another national day. Yes, today, April 12th, is National Grilled Cheese Day, a day dedicated to the ooey gooey melty cheese between two slices of bread. Thanks to the power of video, I can make one of those grilled cheeses appear right here. Thanks, video!
Grilled cheese.
I've got two questions for you. One is, how do you like your grilled cheese? I like mine with bacon. And the other is our question of the day. Can I got some like tomato soup to dip this in or something? Bronny James is LeBron James' 19-year-old son. He's been playing basketball at USC, and he just made the news in the will he, won't he go pro debate. All this draft talk got us thinking about his dad, LeBron. So, our question of the day is, what year was LeBron James drafted into the NBA? Think you know? Keep your guesses handy because we'll tell you if you're right later on in the show. The calendar may say it's spring, but Mother Nature has other ideas. Severe storms traveled across the southern part of the U.S., bringing wild winds, intense rain, and tornadoes. People across Texas caught video of the storm.
It's like golf balls.
Tornadoes hit parts of Texas, Louisiana, and Florida, leaving some damage to homes and businesses. Trees were also knocked down. Parts of Mississippi saw about 5 inches of rain. Many are still without power across the states, but officials are working to get it restored. The Red Cross has also set up emergency shelters in some areas to help anyone who needs it. And the storm is expected to move offshore. We hope everyone stays safe out there. We've got big news about Beyonce.
16 carriages driving away.
Queen Bee is reigning atop the charts. Her album, Cowboy Carter, has been out for 2 weeks, and now Beyonce has made history as the first black woman to reach #1 on Billboard's country album chart. Not only that, this is also her 8th #1 album on the Billboard 200 list. And yes, it's the best-selling album of the year so far. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, the album has 27 songs, including the one and only, "It Ain't Texas, Ain't No Hold'em," Texas Hold'em.
St. Texas, ain't no hold'em.
And collaborations with Miley Cyrus, Post Malone, and Dolly Parton. Plus, there are some nods to civil rights. Black country artists are featured on a cover of Blackbird, a Beatles song inspired by the Little Rock Nine who fought to desegregate public schools. This album has been a long time coming, and the Beehive has been loving it. A new animal species was just discovered. It's called the Kermitops gratis. And if you're thinking, hey, that sounds a lot like Kermit the Frog, you're right. Paleontologists are scientists who use fossils to study the history of life on Earth, and a group of them at the Smithsonian National Museum of History named the species after the famous frog. See here, the fossil looks like it has his grin. But get this, it was discovered almost 40 years ago in Texas, when it was uncovered with some other fossils that paleontologists just didn't have time to look at. So it sat in the museum until recently. The researcher thought it could be related to an existing species, so he teamed up with a coworker to study it. And they realized it was actually an entirely new species of amphibian, which are small animals with 4 legs that need water to survive, like frogs, toads, and salamanders. Oh, and the coolest part, it's almost 270 million years old. That means it was on Earth even before the dinosaurs. Based on the shape of the fossil, it would probably look similar to a salamander if it was still around today. Discovering new species like this is great for preserving history. Now the only question is, how does Miss Piggy feel about all this? Our video of the day is from a volcano in Italy called Mount Etna. See these rings of smoke? This volcano was spewing them out for over a week. The perfect circles are called volcanic vortex rings, and they're made up of gas and water vapor. And rarely, when pressure builds up inside the volcano, they release just like this. Mount Etna is the largest active volcano in Europe, and scientists say it emits more of these rings than any other volcano on Earth. Italian volcanologists say there is no danger from its activity. The rings have led some locals to rename the volcano Lady of the Rings. It's bellissimo, as the Italians would say. Is Bronny going pro? That's been the question on basketball fans' minds for years, or even ever since he was born. Yes, we're talking about LeBron James' 19-year-old son. He's been playing basketball at USC as a freshman this past season, and he just made a major announcement about his future. On Instagram, he said 2 things. 1, he's preparing to enter the NBA draft. 2, he's also entering into the transfer portal, which means he's open to play for a different school in the NCAA. Basically, he's still keeping himself eligible to play in college if he doesn't go pro. Now, there's more to know about Bronny. His first season at USC was shortened after he suffered cardiac arrest last July. Cardiac arrest is when someone's heart unexpectedly stops beating. It's quite rare. For Bronny, it was likely caused by a heart condition he's had since birth. He underwent a procedure to treat it and was eventually cleared to play basketball again. We'll have to wait and see what the 6'3" guard ultimately decides. He'll go through the draft process next month, and then he has until June 16th to decide if he wants to turn pro or stay playing college ball. As for LeBron, he's on record saying he'd love to play in the NBA with his sons. Which leads us to the question of the day: what year was LeBron James drafted into the NBA? The answer: 2003. Back then, LeBron was only 18 years old, just 1 year younger than Bronny is now. The Cleveland Cavaliers selected LeBron James as the #1 overall draft pick that year. A pretty good choice, if I do say so myself. Have you wondered what it's like to live on Mars? Well, some people are about to find out. NASA is looking for 4 people to live and work in a Mars simulator at a space center in Houston, Texas for a full year. This is the second of 3 missions like this where humans live as if they're on the red planet for an extended period of time. It's all part of NASA's plan to have astronauts land on the moon. Nope. Mars is not the moon. I keep telling people this. Gravity. It's all part of NASA's plan to have astronauts land on and explore the planet in the 2030s. So far, only robotic rovers have ever been there. Starting next spring, the 4 people selected will live in a 3D printed facility that mimics what life is like on Mars. But don't worry, there are some comforts from home like board games, a gaming console, and a TV. So you can stay up to date on Fortnite. To apply, you have to be at least 30 years old and have experience working in STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. So we want to know, if there was a program like this where you could live and go to school in the Mars simulator, would you apply? Send us an email with your parents at hi@firststopnews.com and tell us what you think. And before we go, we wanted to say Eid Mubarak to everyone who observed Ramadan this past month. The Muslim holiday ended earlier this week, culminating with Eid al-Fitr, which means the feast of the breaking of the fast. It's when family and friends gather to pray, eat, and celebrate the end of the holy month. All right, everybody, that's our show. I hope you guys have a great weekend. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, make sure to do so before you go, and we will see you again right here at First Stop News next Friday. Oh, I'm starving.